Good evening. There are calls tonight for a Hull vicar to be punished and to apologise after he said that homosexual acts are in the same category as paedophilia. The Reverend Melvin Tinker made the comments after a blessing was given to a gay pride march in York at the weekend. Those comments have been called highly offensive, but as yet the Church of England has yet to comment. We'll hear from Reverend Tinker in a moment. First, Caroline Bilton has this report.
There were some daring costumes in York for the annual Gay Pride March, but it was the unveiling of this flag on the steps of York Minster and the comments it provoked that caused the most controversy.
Our welcome at York Minster is completely and unreservedly inclusive.
The blessing of the parade by Canon Michael Smith received a round of applause, but elsewhere it was an act that was condemned by a fellow member of the clergy.
For the canon to actively support it with a blessing, having the massive flag draped on the steps of York Minster is just very, very provocative. In terms of action, homosexual activity falls into the same category as any other immoral activity.
His comments made the headlines in the national newspapers, and there are now calls for the Church of England to take action.
I just feel that actually it simply cannot be ignored. Somebody somewhere has to ask some more questions about the appropriateness of making such public offensive statements.
But for organisers of this year's Gay Pride event in Hull, his comments may have had quite the opposite effect he hoped for.
We weren't going to be blessed. We weren't going to seek somebody to come and bless our Pride Parade this year. On the 18th of July, we will be looking for someone to come, of any faith, any denomination, to come and support our Pride event in Hull and bless our parade and our event during the day.
The Church of England is expected to release a statement later this evening. Caroline Bilton, BBC Look North, Hull.
Well, on this one, I asked the Reverend Tinker if York Minster was wrong to bless the Gay Pride March.
Well, it's because of what York Minster represents. It represents the Church of England, and particularly the Church of the Diocese. And the official church, teaching of the Church of England is that homosexual activity is incompatible with the teaching of the Bible and therefore the teaching of the Church.
So was it endorsing something politically charged? And in your view, is it immoral?
It was endorsing something which was politically charged, and many of us think this was a cynical political move by the Minster, given that at the moment the Church is in discussions on this.
Let me just clarify, do you bracket homosexuality alongside serial adultery and paedophilia in if you like, the bad bracket?
Yeah, basically there are two columns. There's good and there's bad. There's moral, immoral.
And the homosexuality is in the bad, is it?
Homosexual practice is in the immoral category, according to the teaching of the Bible.
So mean it is the same as paedophilia? It's in the bad bracket?
No, it's not the same as paedophilia in that, in the same way that stealing is not the same as murder. Both
but it's
are immoral.
In the bad bracket in your mind, isn't it?
It's in the bad bracket according to the teaching of the Bible and in terms of basic moral categories, yeah.
So, is it, in your opinion, right, homosexuality in God's eyes?
Again, you've got to make a distinction between homosexuality and homosexual practice. The fact is, we've all got disordered sexuality. Again, that's the teaching of the Bible. But it's what you actually do with that.
You spoke out at the weekend. You've had a lot of hate mail. Were you expecting that? And can you understand that quite a few gay people have been very offended and angry at your comments?
Well, there are a number of things you've sort of mixed up there, Peter. Having hate mail, is that right? People being angry, does that mean that's justified to send hate mail? I hope not. One would expect people to disagree with my positions. I disagree with them. But what we don't expect in a civilised society where you want freedom of speech and freedom of expression is very aggressive reactions to that. We want to be able to engage in a civilised debate.
And the last part of the question, people being angry and cross at what you said, gay people, can you understand that?
The thing is, the focus was actually on what the church, what the Minster was doing.
Yeah, but that's just a cloak for your views, isn't it, Mark?
No, I'm sorry, that's a very strong word you're using, cloak, and that seems to suggest that I'm being disingenuous in some way. I'm not. The focus, and it still is the focus, is that York Minster did something which was wrong.
Be very keen to get people's views. Reverend, very good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Reverend Melvin Tinker from Hull was perfectly right in acting the way he did, and very responsible. And those who reacted to his comments in the way they did were in the wrong. Christianity teaches, as any Christian will tell you, homosexuality is wrong, and teaches that all who are unrepentant shall die in their sins. If you really would like to know more about this, I invite you to read my new book, Mary Mary Quite Contrary, which deals with some of these matters. Available from Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk and Amazon Europe.